Three, two, one.
¿Qué pasa, campeones? Welcome to the Churros y Tácticas podcast. It's a Friday one, folks. August the 4th. The weekend is at our doorstep, and we are here with a back-to-back session. It's the 1-2 punch from the dynamic duo, your favorite. What should we call it? Comedic football relief duo? I mean, we try to be serious, but we also try to give you guys a little bit of banter, a little bit of good vibes as the rivalry and the history between Barça and Madrid continues to roll on. I'm just realizing this is the post Clásico pod, Keon. So we have a ton to get through. 7-3, baby. We're counting friendlies here. 7-3 since Xavi's arrival in the Clásicos against Don Carlo. We've got a lot to uncover.
Why stop there? Let's make it 8-3. You had a moral victory in the Super Cup last year. That's another win. What else? What else did you guys do? Remember that time where Dembele scored?
We won La Liga.
Remember that time that Dembele scored against Inter and you guys thought you won the Champions League? That's 9-3.
Dembele, a lot of stuff we got to get through, Kian. So listen, like I said, it's a back-to-back session, free one, and then make sure you head over to patreon.com/churros y tácticas to get also the delicious Patreon edition. Again, we have been blessed and we're privy to answer all of the questions, so many questions submitted by our loyal listeners, quality stuff. So again, without any further ado, because we got to get into it, let's roll on with this edition, the free one. And just quickly before we get started, you'll notice that I'm holding my microphone, Kian. It's because as I was setting up, I came from the coast, so I had all my stuff up there. Set it up for today's pod. I snapped off the microphone as I was adjusting it to the mic stand. So I'm sans mic stand at the moment. Yeah, and we'll have to figure stuff out. But hey, good to be back. Good to talk to you. This is going to be also the back-to-back session, the last one from here, at least from my end, for the next 2 weeks, because I'm actually going to Mallorca today. We're catching the boat tonight.
Wow.
So yes. I know it seems like I'm out a lot, but I tell you, it's only because I no longer work for my beloved club here, Barça, that I've found myself with an unexpected and quite frankly, not wanted free time neither, because I mean, the parents meet the family meet once a year at the house that my parents have rented always. So better be there than here, especially with all this heat. So I know it seems like I'm on holiday, but trust me, I'm in full-blown work mode, Kian. I have not stopped. I'm working on my website. A lot of stuff is going to come out. And it's I have some more news actually on that front, which I shared with you, Kian, on WhatsApp, but I noticed you didn't react. But we'll talk about that on the Patreon edition, because I have some really, really, quite frankly, bad news and a little bit of embarrassing news as well.
I got something I think from you somewhere on maybe IG, and I read that. I was like, oh, but I was like about to board a plane. I was like, I can't answer this right now.
Yeah, well, that's a massive blow. That what I told you is true. So, but anyway, more news on that a little bit later. Kian, it's Clásico pod, we could say. 3-0. Let's go over it. I'm sure you guys already discussed it at length on Managing Madrid. I haven't heard any of your feedback. All I got was your somewhat, cynical comments with regards to us winning the World Cup and parading that one around. So I know you want to get that off your chest. But yeah, man, 3-0 it did end. To my surprise, I quite honestly, look, it didn't feel like a 3-0 win. And how many times have I come on this podcast and said we were closer to, let's say, the 1-0 or the 1-1 than you guys were for the 2-1 or whatever, the 2-0. Well, this one didn't feel like it was going to end 3-0, and Madrid were closer to a 1-1. And it could have ended in a draw, and I think that would have been fair as well. It didn't. 3 fell in favor for us. The 5 posts, came to our rescue, as well as a very good Marc-Andre ter Stegen. And I How do what was it for you? You were there at the scene, man. So break it down for me.
Yeah, I was. I'm happy to report that the journalists from last year were there as well again, and it's funny. I don't know. I don't actually know their names, but uh, they were sitting
Talk to
close
them.
to. They were sitting close to us again, but like in a different row. And after the second goal, the staff of the Soccer Champions Tour had to come over and tell them, guys, this is press box, journalists, please no cheering.
Are you
And I was
kidding?
like, oh man,
Are
I
you
wish I had
serious?
that. Yes, I wish. I said, I wish I had that on video so I could send this to Diego. This is great content. This is irrefutable proof that what I'm saying is not made up. It's,
That
uh,
is so good. That is I wish you did catch that on tape. That would
I
have been
wish.
hilarious.
I wish. I had a chuckle about it though. Um, yeah, look, my thoughts on the game itself. I mean, it confirmed to me some concerns I have about Real Madrid without wanting to get too carried away because it is preseason, so you don't want to be overly dramatic about losing. But it just like my prediction heading into the preseason and heading into this season is if you don't get Mbappe, is that we have a lot of good creators who can create chances, but we'll have trouble scoring goals. And that's kind of what happened. So it's like kind of like hard to like look at that game, but it happened against Juve too. So it's not just
Right.
one preseason game; it's against Juve too that happened again. We had I think almost 40 shots against Juve and one goal.
Jesus
And
Christ.
so like this is like a problem that we're like foreseeing that
Right.
okay, so who's the guy who's going to score, 30, 40 goals for us this season? I don't think we have that guy. I think we have Vinicius
How
who's a really
long
good
has this
player.
been the narrative for Madrid, though, man? It's crazy. It's like we've been discussing the
Only
same
a,
topic.
only a year. I mean like 2 years
Well,
ago we had Benzema, right?
that
Like
was like a freak year, it seems. It seems like who can make up for Cristiano's goals? That's been the question like since he left.
sure. It's well, I mean, it's not easy. Like who replacing Cristiano Ronaldo's goals, right? It's not an easy thing to do because he's
It's
such
like
a
us with the right back position.
well, us in the right back position
Sure,
too.
sure, sure.
Yeah. Um. So that's, I mean, that's it. I mean, like, so if I'm sure there's going to be games where you have outliers where we score like 3, 4, 5 goals because it just everything is falling our way. But the consistent ability to put the ball in the back of the net, I'm worried. Um, so it just confirmed to me a few things, and I don't think
Jose
it's
Lu is not the mustard.
Jose Lu is a good player in La Liga who can come off the bench. That's it. That's all I see him. And I respect that.
Mariano 2.0.
No, he's better than Mariano. Come on, Mariano never scored
Dude,
16 goals in La
really,
Liga.
I need to. I should have tagged you on this. I'm gonna see if I find a post yesterday. I think it must have been Twitter. The fanfare, the spectacle that was around the arrival of Mariano when he first arrived was crazy. Like people were saying like the next Ronaldo, and they might have been
No,
talking about.
nobody said that. Nobody said
I'm
that.
gonna show
Diego.
you.
Nobody.
They were.
Nobody.
Fans were saying. Fans were
Diego,
saying.
nobody said
Fans
that.
were.
Nobody.
I saw it
Not
yesterday
one
with my
person.
own eyes. Kian, I'm gonna send it to you. It sounds as ridiculous as the journalists celebrating this Clásico friendly, like it was a. There was a line going all the way around the Bernabeu waiting for this presentation. The camera crew were going through the fanfare, all these people waiting. They were like, "Oh, the next Ronaldo. Oh, esto es un
No,
fichajazo."
nobody
swear
said
to
that.
God, I saw
Nobody
it.
said the words "the next Ronaldo." Nobody said that. Not even
I'm
the
gonna prove
Twitter
you
troll
wrong.
in his
You
mom's
are gonna
basement.
eat those words. I will prove you wrong. I'm gonna look for the post, tag you in it. You'll see for your own eyes. Anyway,
All
please
right.
continue.
I want that person's name and address and Twitter handle. And I want that we gotta expose this person. Like, okay, look, just put things in perspective. I didn't think Mariano was the next Ronaldo, but I was like, that's a good signing. He scored.
Yeah.
He had just scored, I think, 17 goals in Ligue 1. He's from our youth team. Why not? But I didn't expect him to be like. But I was shocked that he was as irrelevant as he became. Like I thought he was going to be a better contributor than that. I think part of that is our fault. I think there's an alternate universe because you remember how it happened? It was that Sevilla wanted to sign him. and we had the first right of refusal, so we had to interject and we decided like, no,
Yeah,
Sevilla actually is coming home. If we had
yeah,
to just let him go to Sevilla, I'm curious to see how that would have played out for
for
them. I think
sure.
he would have scored like 15 goals for them in the league, and it would have been a different story for his career. But anyways, I'm sure that's
Yeah.
not the main thing we're going to talk about today, right? We're not going to talk about Mariano.
No, I just wanted to know about Madrid's, lack of efficiency up top, I suppose, because the chances, like you mentioned, are being created, but again, not finished. So it seems the fate of your success this season depends on Mbappe coming, which he will. And knowing that, I guess you're optimistic despite these two losses, the 3-0s.
Uh, I'm not optimistic, but I'm not, also not. Sorry, this lighting is messed up because it's like 7 in the
Got the
morning.
morning sun coming in, so you
Yes,
have
the
to
morning
close the
sun.
blinds as
Anyways,
well.
I'm not. I just I'm not optimistic or pessimistic. I'm just kind of like I feel like I have my expectations in check. I think we're gonna struggle to score goals consistently this season.
With
That's my
Mbappe as
prediction.
well.
No, with Mbappe, it's a game changer, man. That
Well,
guy's
that's what I'm
gonna
saying. Knowing that he
yeah.
is coming, which it's just a matter of time now. It's like if Giuseppe Pedro's tic tac was ever going to be played and used as much as it was last year during a transfer window, now it's proper tic tac. There's no chance that Mbappe will stay at QSG
If he does arrive,
when he arrives. Yeah.
it feels silly that like we spent so many months talking about how we can't score goals because then I feel like the analysis just goes out the window. But if he does arrive, yeah, it changes things, man. It does dramatically. I think it takes the team to a different level.
I mean, you guys have been discussing Mbappe to death, so I assume that you guys already taken for given that he is going to arrive as well. By you guys, I mean in managing Madrid and all the
No,
newspapers.
nobody's taken that for a given, man. Nobody. How could you?
Dude, because look at the situation. It's now as well with the clause that was
But I
stipulated in his
also know
contract.
for a fact, Diego, that Real Madrid have not, but like they have not made contact at all with Mbappe or PSG. Like it has
With it,
not happened.
with Mbappe, the things are done. It's a done deal.
If you're now you're drinking the PSG Kool Aid. But this is
But
what
we
El
know we
Khalifi
know
wants
how
you to believe.
But we know how these things go, Kian. I mean, I know that legally you're not allowed, so QSG is hoping that they have had some case to put a una denuncia, right? Like
All I'm saying is that the PSG need to take initiative, or Mbappe needs to take initiative and actually get the ball rolling. Because as of right now, there's nothing in place. Like there's no contact. So when is it going to happen? Like, is it just going to be a matter of PSG gets desperate enough to be like, all right, fine, like you guys just what this is what we're willing to sell him for, and then start the negotiations.
well, yeah. I wonder who it favors to run down the clock. I guess I don't think that QSG is necessarily they really care whether they let him go for free
I
or
think it's a
get
lose
200.
lose lose. I think we all suffer leaving it late. Everyone loses, but I think Real Madrid is in the right to not do this, especially after what happened last season. Like if you
Well,
guys
if you guys do the same thing that you did last season and then he doesn't come again, it would be the ultimate embarrassment, of course. Yeah. So that you want to save your face. I get that. Of
Yes.
course.
So I also think like as soon as you make an offer, you lose some of the leverage. And
Yeah.
I think the expectation probably is that at some point, this guy is being outcast from the locker room. He's being
The
um,
marketing campaigns,
publicly
everything.
humiliated like by his own club. And at some point, PSG were like, okay, we really don't want this guy to stick around and then walk for free next season. So let's just get in touch with these guys. That's
Did
what
you
has to happen.
did you hear or read about Lucho leaving all of a sudden last night? I guess
That's
that's
not
been
going to
now.
happen.
That's not going to happen. I
No,
knew
it's
that
not.
was bullshit. I don't know if what element of truth. I mean, apparently he posted something on his Instagram saying, all for one for all. I think he might have even written that in French of the Three Musketeers. But yeah, you knew that was bullshit. It would have been amazing had that happened, and Lucho just would have upped himself. I would have bought a Lucho poster today and hung that one up on my wall. Not that I haven't had posters of Luis Enrique in the past. It would have upped his status of un puto ídolo. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. So what? So okay, Clásico was for you was a free clause. You're not sweating it. Juve was a free clause. You're not sweating it. You see obviously the gaping hole that continues to exist there up front. So Mbappe is going to come at some point and take care of that. You guys winning the Champions League and reconquering La Liga. Meanwhile, over at Football Club Barcelona, Mbappe has jumped on the QSG bandwagon and has.
Dembele.
What did I say? Did I
You
say
said
Mbappe?
You said Mbappe.
Sorry, Dembele. And we have a right wing problem now, or do we? I don't know. Let's talk about that a little bit. Mbappe. Why do I keep saying Mbappe? Dembele leaving for.
You're already terrified of Clásicos with Mbappe.
I like how you pronounce it different than me. Mbappe. I say Mbappe. I guess here they say Mbappe.
Sounds all the same to me.
Sounds all the same. Well, there's a different connotation and the different letters.
I feel like if
Different
Mbappe
emphasis.
does arrive, like you can just have so many moral victories, because if you lose Clásicos against Mbappe, you'll be like, oh, but we did well against the best player in the world. So
I like how fucking confident
now we have
you are.
now let's go 10-3.
Having lost La Liga, lost the Clásicos since Xavi's arrival, lost this Clásico. What do you say? You know, you're very a little arrogant, my friend, if I may say so. A bit of
No.
eating a bit of humble pie would do you some good.
Yeah, I actually do need that. I do need some humble pie.
So listen, obviously, you don't think we have a problem with Dembele leaving.
I definitely think that's going to hurt you if he leaves.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Unless you find
If
a
he
really
leaves,
good
he's
replacement.
left. He's already gone. He's like he's already in Paris.
Isn't there problems with the fax machine? That's the latest I heard.
Oh, is
No, I'm serious. I don't.
it really?
Maybe the report was weird enough that it almost sounded like a parody. But from what I understand,
everything like Lucho's thing wasn't? I mean, come on, it's crazy.
but this one was different because like there were actually like, let me see if I can pull it up. But anyways, let's just assume that Dembele leaves. Here, let me.
Yes. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's going to be hard to replace. He's a very unique and dangerous player that I don't think there's another profile like him in the Barca squad.
I agree. You know, I see a lot of culés very happy about
Why?
his departure, and you know, saying finally the rat is gone.
Oh, come on.
This guy that has plagued us and humiliated us for the last
Cool.
six,
Good luck replacing
six
what he brings to
seasons,
the table.
where he didn't play, and his injuries and his agent and his wages and the yada yada. I think we're missing, if not the best, the second best player of our squad has now departed.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you get his wages off the books, how much does that free up the ability to go after somebody like Bernardo Silva?
Yeah. I don't know.
It really depends on how you're able to replace him. I also think there's probably a shift in the way Barcelona played in some sense, because Dembele's damage is done mostly through dribbling and line breaking. So
Yeah.
you may have to play different style of football,
Yeah.
or maybe you don't go with the pure line breaking winger. Maybe Xavi experiments even more with four midfielders,
Yeah.
playing a different way. So I don't think it's necessarily doom and gloom. My point was just that he's devastating and terrifying to play against because he's so fast and
He's
so great
freakish.
at dribbling. Yeah, he's freakish. He's really hard to defend, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like Barcelona may have to find a different kind of profile player.
Yeah.
And it would
And
be a different
we know that
conversation
it's
if
not-
Ansu Fati didn't have
Right.
health concerns.
Yeah, but Ansu is not Dembele. Ansu is just so much more clinical in front of goal, but he doesn't have that freakish ability to, push the ball forward and chase after it like a man possessed. And
Mm.
he did that very well. And I mean, the way he was able to switch his feet as well, so gifted with both right and left. You, the level of unpredictability with Dembele at his peak, at his best, you didn't see that in quite frankly in any wingers or any right wingers for that matter. And you know, when Joan Laporta, of course, defending his players, said that in his opinion Dembele is better than Mbappe, um, as much of a mocked statement that turned out to be, or people made of that, a complete mockery. I think there's a case to be made if that consistency, if we would have seen that consistency in Dembele that we have seen with Mbappe, um, that he could rival Mbappe in terms of being one of the best in the world or one of the best in his positions. It's the inconsistency, and of course also the fact that he has become injury prone, that makes that statement ridiculous. But I don't think from a talent ability, from a talent standpoint, that that is so, say, outlandish. I mean, I think we could have an interesting debate that from a pure talent perspective, I think Mbappe could rival, or Dembele could rival Mbappe. Um, so we're left with, you mentioned Ansu. I think this will be good for Ansu Fati. We can't expect from Ansu Fati a similar style of play. I mean, he's always shown that he's not that kind of a player. He's just much more clinical and able to be efficient from difficult positions. But that explosiveness that he showed in the beginning, when he was 16, breaking out in the first team, I don't think we can expect that to come back from Ansu Fati. Hopefully, I'm wrong, but hopefully we can see an Ansu Fati that can be, clinical, that continues to put the ball into the back of the net with rare occasions, and hopefully that will translate into more minutes as well. But even Rafinha or Ferran Torres are they are different kinds of players than Dembele, and they don't fulfill that talent that Dembele brought to the table. So I get Ansu Fati. I get Xavi's disappointment. Um, you mentioned Bernardo Silva. I think that, I mean, according to reports, that is now where the priority has shifted. Of course, there's a lot of talk with Cancelo as well. The right back
Mm.
position being one that needs to be strengthened, if not filled, in the case of Barça. And these players come with a hefty price tag. So to go back to your question of how much does Dembele's salary now alleviate the salary cap of Barça, I'm not really sure because things are not fully transparent. So you don't know exactly if Dembele was making between 7 and 11 million, whether what portion was exactly net or gross. Um, and even from the transfer fee itself, so whether QSG is going to end up to pay um, the 50 million clause, buyout clause, as a symbol that used to be the clause that needed to be activated to buy out Dembele before the 31st of June, that for some reason now is also the negotiated price, and has just been like it almost feels like we're forced to accept it. Like, I mean, I don't really understand, call me ignorant, naive, or whatever, why there is no negotiation. Like, as far as I'm concerned, the clause has just been upped, right? Has increased to 100 million, and we just have to accept 50, and half of that going to Sissoko and the Dembele crew. Like, so we're just left with 25. I don't know. A lot of questions I have, Kian, about this whole transfer. Why is there negotiation? Okay, I get that there's only 1 year left on Dembele's contract, and that he would also walk away for free next year, and that we are now in dire need of some money falling our way. So here, 50 will have to do. Shut up, take it or leave it. Es que no lo sé, no lo entiendo, tío. I don't understand. Maybe they are negotiating. Maybe they are negotiating. I mean, this deal, this transfer has not been made official yet, even though, Fabrizio Romano, the great Fabrizio, has tweeted that it is a done deal and that the numbers are as such, meaning 50 million, 25 going to the Sissoko camp and 25 to Barça, or maybe a little bit more. Yeah. Anyway,
So from what I understand, there is isn't there there was there was a date, right? There was a date where I think it passed and that changed things, and I think because of
yeah,
that,
correct. Yeah.
yeah.
So the clause changed from 50 million buyout clause to 100 million buyout clause as
Mm.
of June 31st. Excuse me, July 31st.
So from what I understand, I think it's also a matter of the player just wanting to go there too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when that happens, Barcelona have a little bit less leverage in that
Mm-hmm.
sense
Mm-hmm.
in the negotiations, and also I don't know if like look you used to work for Barca, and I don't and I don't know like how much you would have input on this, but uh, did you see the report that it was a journalist from us, so I don't know this person really that well, but saying that Barca have asked Dembele to give up some of that money,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and he refused to do so.
Yes. Yes.
I think like, look, shoot your shot. There's no harm in trying, but I think Dembele isn't within his right to be like, no. I mean, this is what contracts are for, right? Um,
But I think what they're saying is that he has not met all of the requirements needed to walk away with the 50 percentage of that buyout clause. So he's like, because of him leaving early, right, prematurely, it's something along those lines. So Barca's case is, hey, you're walking away with 50, assuming that you have met all of these criterias. No, you have not, because of you're leaving before whatever what the contract was supposed to be completed, or without signing a renewal. I don't know exactly. Again, here there's a lack of transparency, so we don't know what those reasons are. But Barca feel like he hasn't met the requirements to be walking away with 50% of the buyout clause or the transfer fee. And so they're saying, look, you have to give us more. And they're saying no. So this could end up in the courts, I guess.
what happened to your Qatar leavers? Isn't there a new leaver from Qatar?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't,
So what do we call if you're gonna call PSG QSG? What do we call Barca now?
You know what? It's funny you mention that, because I have a suspicion, call it a conspiracy theory, that me calling QSG for what they are, QSG, a Qatar state-owned club, that is preventing me from landing certain jobs. We know that QSG is. Do you understand what I'm saying here?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
All right.
Well, look, Barca are not state-owned yet, so if it's like having Qatar Foundation as a sponsor. Not something that I liked at the time. I prefer this, but yeah. I see your shot fired, and I'll take it.
There will be more shots. There will be more shots.
Yes, we gotta switch on over. Let's go.
There's a lot of great, juicy questions, as always, that came in from our patrons. And we are going to go answer those right now in part 2 and that episode. And if you want to also not only access the episode, but also just get your questions in, the juicier the better. We don't shy away from controversy and juice. So if you ask a really controversial question, we'll actually more than likely to take it. So if you want to submit controversial questions or any question, patreon.com/churrositacticas, and you can also listen to the answer as well. All right, we'll see you part 2 over there. Diego, See you in 5 seconds. Peace.
Yes. Ciao, ciao.